Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome to the first race of the 2020 season here in NASCAR Racing 2003 season. We are in the Planet Zoo Chevy, and over to our right there in the outside lane, you can see Brandon in the WreckingandRacing.com podcast Toyota. If you're a fan of podcasts and NASCAR and are looking for something cool to listen to through the week, head on over to WreckingandRacing.com, and they're available on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, all your major podcast dealers. And we're starting on the inside here. Looks like William Byron is on the pole for this particular event. We'll have 20 laps and we are running 3X tire wear and fuel, so everyone will need to make at least one pit stop. Waiting for that green flag, we're behind Clint Boyer here on the inside lane, and green flag is out. And we've got Bubba Wallace behind us and Cole Custer on the outside of him. Nice and tight, pretty respectable qualifying position in the middle. Usually Brandon and I are a lot slower in qualifying on the plate tracks, so a decent starting spot, and Brandon making that middle work as he pushes to the outside of Boyer on the inside of Stenhouse. And it looks like he's getting checked up on the high lane. We'll stick right behind Boyer if we can. We've got the 21 of De Benedetto right beside us here, really putting a door to us here, and Brandon seems to be dropping back just a touch. We see Hamlin on the outside lane, and it looks like Byron and Larson are in command. But will Brandon drop down? Yes, indeed. Brandon drops down to the bottom and will be right on our rear bumper. Hopefully he can give us a push past these guys looking for that spot under Boyer, and that is the first lap of competition done this year. If Boyer gives up that bottom, we will peek to the inside, see if we can put these guys on the outside lane behind us a bit. Looks like Larson was shuffled out of the second spot. He'll be the leader of the second line. Brandon's actually dropped back a little bit as well on the bottom and glued right to Clint Boyer. He looks to be heading under Kurt Busch there in the one. We've got the run. The line may be checking up. We'll put Boyer 3 wide, give Kurt room to come down and follow him through on the bottom under Logano. Looks like Kevin Harvick is out there as well as Brad Keselowski in that money lion Ford. Looks like Kyle Busch is behind us now. Brandon dropping back behind Kyle, but as long as we keep moving forward, that is all well and good. With this being a 20-lap event, the AI will probably pit somewhere around lap 10 or 11, maybe even lap 9. The fuel run is 13 laps here, so once we get to lap 8 or 9, the fuel window will be open and tires are going to be a big question. We only need one can of fuel, so right side seem the most likely, and that is our strategy as of now. Unless something changes, a yellow flag comes out, we might take 4 since we have some time to get the car under us. Still one big massive pack in the back, only a few cars dropping back, the rest of them side by side, double file as we're pushing Kurt Busch through the tri-oval. One more lap gone and we are in a Busch sandwich here under the 19 of Truex Jr. And can we get the 1 as well? Does Kurt Busch roll out? He does. He gives us the bottom, and with the push from behind with Kyle, we'll be able to get right behind the 34 there. 3 wide, keeping the left sides glued to the double yellow line as we're 3 wide, rocketing down the backstretch with no help. Brandon looks to be coming on the bottom, but Kyle Busch looks to be sticking to the second groove, so he's not going to help us until the turn. But I do not think we are 3 wide anymore. We just have the 1 of Kurt Busch to our outside and a little bit of a gap. If they go single file, we can start to break away. So we want to see these guys side by side in front of us as much as possible so we don't lose this group. Brandon keeping a nice gap behind us here, and Kyle Busch goes down low to fill that spot, and we hopefully will complete the pass here exiting turn 2. Nope, still side by side with Kurt Busch, but Chase Elliott drops down in the 9, and that should give us a head of steam down the back straightaway, but that high lane is very quick on exit. They're getting that bite off of turn 2 and rocketing down the backstretch, but these turns are long and the bottom is fast, so we'll stick to the bottom as much as we can. We get half a car on Kurt if he's choked up by the 9, We'll try to fill that spot behind Bowman, and indeed we can complete that pass and get under Chase Elliott. Hendrick Motorsports cars looking really strong here with Byron, Johnson, Bowman, and Elliott all nearby. Right on the back bumper of that 88, Johnson looks to be trying to hold the high lane by himself. Larson goes up top as well. We still have two distinct lines coming down the back straightaway. I try to peek out to make it line 3, but think better of it. We'll get back in line behind Bowman and ride this bottom lane through. The 34 is looking really strong of John Hunter Nemechek, so good on you there, John Hunter. Way to keep it in. And the 38 and 34 cars are usually pretty strong on the plate tracks. The little underfunded team that can, definitely showing their muscle here at Daytona. And looking under the 88 of Alex Bowman as well. These guys are single filed up. We'll try to make the best work. And yeah, Bowman should drop back very quickly, and we'll be in line behind the leaders. There's Kyle Larson, Eric Almirola, and William Byron leading the Daytona 500. Looks like Larson is feeling antsy going to the bottom under Almirola. We will follow suit with Kyle Busch behind. Larson may be looking for the lead here. If we can shuffle Almirola back, he's got no help up top. Bowman is nowhere near Almirola to give him that push. And we will put the bumper to Kyle Larson just a bit. He does make the move under William Byron, and we shall push Larson for the lead. And there's Brandon in the mirror coming up quick. So both myself and Brandon in the top 5, a few laps in to the race, but like I said, a lot of strategy will come into play depending on what happens this race on pit stops. The AI are pretty aggressive on their pit stop entry, so we'll want to give them a wide berth as they come down. Brandon moves to block that 38 on the bottom row. Can we get down to the bottom? I'll give Brandon the line. He stays right behind the 42, and we will be the outside leader. Brandon gets off that bottom just a little bit. I'm surprised that 38 didn't fill the hole. And the 38 actually backed out just a little bit, but Brandon hanging on the bottom there. We're hanging tough on the outside with William Byron behind us, and Kyle Larson is splitting the lines back and forth. We'll get that run off of the tri-oval and get down into turn 1 on the bottom, and we'll see if we can pull Brandon out past that 24 and get in line on the backstretch. This is the period of the race where we can sort of lay low, stay in line, click off some laps, be clean, and watch out for these guys on their pit stops. But the 38 is looking pretty aggressive, so if Brandon keeps that bottom open, the 38 may fill it indeed. We're about a half a lane up, just in case these guys decide to pit. Kyle Larson stays on the track, comes up in front of us. We'll give him the boot as he gets down to the start-finish line, and still the 38 and 24 hanging tough with the first 3. So single file, and indeed we do have a car coming off pit road. That's the 32 of Corey LaJoy. Will be one of the first cars coming off of pit road. His cycle is done and 1 lap down. I don't see anyone else in front coming off pit road, so it looks like Corey will be the first one off pit road. And that perks up the ears, because now we know the AI are wanting to pit. They're within their window, and it depends on their strategy, but are they going to come down? Kyle Larson rolls out of the gas. We will drive on by. That will be a clean pit road entry for myself and Brandon next time by. Still, since we are green, I'm thinking 2 tires and 1 can of fuel for this stop. We're putting these guys 1 lap down. If the caution were to come out, we could roll out and coast around, trapping everyone a lap down. So we'll just keep our eyes on those caution lights and ears out for the spotter as we make our way past these guys. There's Daniel Suarez in the Coca-Cola fictional car as of now. Once the paint schemes are revealed throughout the year, I'll get the new ones in. So don't expect a paint scheme accurate race each and every week, as the Daytona 500 certainly isn't 100% accurate on paint schemes. But here we come, 3,000 in second gear, and that white line is actually the pit road boundary. If you come onto pit road under that white line, you get nabbed for entering pit road unsafely. So let's not do that. Let's go right sides and fuel, boys. 1 can of gas, and here we go. Rights are on, gas is in, tear off, ripped off and down, and away we go. Back up to pit road speed, 3,000 in second. There's Brandon in his stall getting service. He takes 4 tires, so we will pass him. Brandon should merge back up with the pack. With Daytona, no lead is safe. That is for sure. So even though we're all alone in the combat zone, that is not ideal for us. We can see Brandon back there about 3 to 4 seconds back. As soon as he gets tied up with a pack, they will be on our rear bumper indeed. So we have to get up to speed as quickly and smoothly as possible, and just keep an eye in the mirror as these laps run down. So green flag stops have cycled through. Everyone has been down pit road. So it is just a race to the finish no matter what happens here. And Daytona, when you see no one out your windshield and no one in your mirror, it is the loneliest feeling in the world. Usually it's awesome on a speedway and you've got the big lead and you're just hauling the mail, but at a restrictor plate track, that mirror is going to fill up quickly. And indeed, I can see Brandon out in front of another group that's coming in. So he will latch onto them and be on our rear bumper within a lap or two, guaranteed. Our main goal is not to get run over. We'll pick a line and roll with it. If we have to drop back in that pack and pick up some folks, we can. But it only looks maybe like a 4 or 5 car pack there. So we don't have the entire field to contend with as we get up to speed, which is good. We won't lose that many spots, but here they come down the back straightaway. Just watching them grow exponentially. Probably a 5 to 10 mile an hour difference from all of those cars, especially if we're riding on the bottom alone and Brandon is leading that first pack right out in front of us, and he is going to have a head of steam behind us. Unfortunately, the race is not ending now, so we have to contend with these guys. Looks like Brandon is pulling Kyle Larson with him. Looking in the back, I can't see who that is. We'll get right down to the double yellow line. Brandon will follow us around, and looks like the rest of the pack is holding station. I thought they would zip right around the outside, but with this push coming off the back straightaway, we'll start climbing and getting back up to pack speed. Kyle Larson moves down. We'll move down to block. We'll throw 1 block, and if they're still down there or they go around, we are not going to throw a second block. Don't want to bottleneck up anyone and cause a crash. That second pack is back there exiting turn 4 right, exiting turn 4 right now, so we don't have that much of a lead. So if we stay single file, we should be okay. I don't think Larson is going to stand for that too awful much, and certainly that 34 is not content with riding, or is that the 38? Can't really see. I think it's John Hunter Nemechek. So the rookie, you could call him the one with the lack of experience here. He may jump out of line really quick. Brandon gives us the tap down the back straightaway, and Larson has a crap ton of speed as he goes around. Looks like, I don't know if that other pack is going to catch. There's one other car in this group as well. I can't tell if that's Blaney. That looks to be Blaney. Can't really see from this angle. We'll try to block both lanes as best we can. Stay on the bottom and watch those runs. Larson looks to be content with riding in line here. We'll be right on the bottom. And I'm watching in that mirror, that second group of cars. If they are coming with a head of steam, that is going to bunch all of us up. And all of a sudden, there's going to be, 20 cars for the win rather than 5. The 38 on the outside run with Blaney and Brandon. We sort of choked up the bottom with Larson there. And indeed, I think that pack of cars just coming into view is catching us much quicker, especially with me holding up both lanes here. Laps are winding down though. Still full throttle and no pit stops to make, so it's just run what you brung from now on. Brandon giving that 42 a push. We'll go down to block that 42. Put the 38 to the outside lane, and Blaney goes up to help his Ford Alliance. And yeah, that group of cars is looking in line and looking quick. We do have a lap car going into turn 3 right now. That may come into play depending how many laps to go. We're running pretty quick. Car was feeling pretty darty there. Moving down to the bottom with the 42, we wash up the track just a bit. That will give Larson the inside run with the 38. Brandon is on the outside with us. And a car to pit road. That was really weird. So we don't have to pit again. But it looks like other cars are coming down to pit road. That is pretty much going to put a nail in the coffin of their race. But we have that left out in the sun too long William Byron paint scheme. Moving to the inside of the 38 and Kyle Busch as well. Now we've got a train of single file cars with Harvick and Logano as well, it seems. So we've got some company in the final stage of this race, if you will. Cars are running up top. Ooh, the 38 cuts off the 24. Now the 24 being the pole sitter, he's pretty quick, that is for sure. Harvick and Logano down to pit with just a few laps to go. That is a head scratcher for sure. We saw last year a few questionable calls in the chase. In fact, I think it was Harvick that pitted with just 2 laps to go of the Vegas race and took himself out of points contention. So Harvick's old Rodney Childers making some questionable calls. There's Corey LaJoie off of pit road, maybe pitting 1 lap too early on that last fuel run. So not as big of pack as I had anticipated going into this. Brandon gives us the shot going into 3. We feel slow out front in clean air. Maybe we can work our way around the outside, but lap car is coming depending on what they do. White flag is in the air. 1 more lap to go with Daniel Suarez blocking the bottom. Let's make the most of what we've got here. Byron to the inside of Suarez. Busch blocked. I'm going to take this momentum right around the outside. We should at least clear the middle lane. We'll make up the spot on Busch and see where we filter out on the backstretch. Getting that pull behind Larson will clear the 38. Brandon following us through right up against the wall. And Brandon will complete that pass around Suarez. It's just us and Larson. I don't think we have the run coming out of turn 4 to get past Larson, but we're going to keep our foot in it. We have Brandon behind us with no other attackers. We'll get down to the inside. Can we make it work? Our nose is there, but unfortunately ran out of time. So ladies and gentlemen, William Byron will win the Daytona 500 and get that chase berth. The first win of the year. We will come in 3rd behind Kyle Larson. Brandon finishes 4th. And pretty tight pack racing there at the end. John Hunter Nemechek gets himself a top 5, which is outstanding indeed for that little team. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to look at the points when it's all said and done. But let's take a look at that last lap and see the moves we were making here. Coming to the white flag, we were going to be on chase mode right behind that 38. There is Daniel Suarez there blocking the middle. If Suarez had blocked the bottom, that would have been more beneficial for us, I think. But shooting to the outside, we had the run. Brandon wasn't quite up to us to give us the shot down the back straightaway we needed. And Suarez moves up to block Brandon. He's right on that wall. And unfortunately, Brandon wasn't there close enough. I don't know if I had drugged the brake and got Brandon right on the rear bumper, if we would have had enough push to get around Larson. But then coming to the line, it looked like he slowed up. We had the run and the momentum, but ran out of time. And there you have it, half a car length from 2nd place. And the first race is in the books. So let's take a look at the point standings after Daytona. Byron with the win and the chase berth. Congratulations, William. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is actually your cutoff driver, finishing in 16th. So we have myself in 3rd, Brandon 4th, John Hunter Nemechek with a top 5, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, Truex, Bowman, and Almirola rounds out your top 10. Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick, the rookies, with a good run. Brad Keselowski in 13th. Bubba Wallace with a good run in 14th. Denny Hamlin in 15th. Outside looking in, just by 1 point, Kurt Busch with Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, and Jimmy Johnson in your top 20. And next week, we make the West Coast swing and head out to Las Vegas, and this is where the point standings will start to really shape up, and we can see who the comers and goers will be next week. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you for the next race in Vegas. Take care.